In the spiritual realm, there are different types of spirits. But one of the most dangerous types people don't talk about are known as familiar spirits. They are evil forces that have latched onto families for so long, sometimes even for generations, causing havoc and destruction in their lives. In this video, I shall be doing a short teaching on familiar spirits, after which we shall be praying a powerful prayer, asking God to dislodge them from your life. Keep watching to the end so that you don't miss out on the prayers. So without wasting your time, let's get straight into it. A familiar spirit, in a biblical context, refers to an evil spirit or demon that is believed to assist or serve a witch, medium, or an occult practitioner. The concept of familiar spirits is mentioned several times in the Bible, always in a negative context. God strictly forbade his people from seeking out or consulting with those who had familiar spirits. In Leviticus 19 verse 31, God said, "Regard not them that have familiar spirits, neither seek after wizards, to be defiled by them." In Leviticus 20 verse 6, he also said, "And the soul that turneth after such as have familiar spirits, and after wizards, to go a-whoring after them, I will even set my face against that soul, and will cut him off from among his people." This verse clearly shows that God takes the issue of familiar spirits seriously. He knows the damage they can cause and wants to protect his children from their influence. It is called familiar because of its close association or intimate knowledge between its victim and the person it is serving. The way it works is that it acts as an insider, providing information to whoever assigned it. For example, a witch or a wizard might choose to assign a familiar spirit into a family. That familiar spirit will observe its victim and gather intelligence to report back to the witch. Sometimes they can hide within a family for years, to the extent that they know everything about that family. In fact, not only do they know everything about that family, but they can also mimic the personality and voices, take the shape and form of a diseased loved one, and even supply vital information about their victims generations down the line. In some extreme cases, they may even masquerade as your deceased relatives. You might have heard stories of people claiming to have seen or communicated with dead family members. While it may seem comforting, it's a dangerous deception. The Bible is clear in Ecclesiastes chapter 9 verse 5. "For the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more a reward, for the memory of them is forgotten." These apparitions aren't your loved ones reaching out from beyond. They're familiar spirits exploiting your grief and memories to gain further influence over your life. It's a tactic as old as time, one that the enemy has used repeatedly to lead people astray. If you go and consult someone who practices dark magic to find out about your deceased loved one, that familiar spirit will provide all the information, which in turn, that person will begin to tell you. This will then make you the victim to believe that they really know a lot about you, whereas it is the familiar spirit supplying all the information it had gathered about you. They're called familiar spirits because they know the background of the victim or the family they are attached to. In fact, they're very used to your family history, your weaknesses, and your vulnerabilities. They use this knowledge to manipulate, attack, and destroy members of that family. The problem with these familiar spirits is the fact that they are very possessive. They sit quietly within a family for years, but continuously cause havoc behind the scenes. And the reason they remain there for long is because they are already used to their victims, and so it is easier for them to control. They behave as though they are the owners of that family. The only way to kick them out is for someone to rise up in the name of Jesus and send them out. But the truth is, these spirits don't just leave without a fight. They are very stubborn and resistant. These spirits don't just cause spiritual problems. Their influence can manifest in physical ways too. They may introduce sicknesses that seem to run in the family line, mental health issues that appear generation after generation, or addictions that seem impossible to break. They might even influence behavior patterns leading to cycles of abuse or dysfunction that repeat themselves through the years. Sometimes you might find a child that is born, and that child acts and behaves exactly as his or her great-grandmother or grandfather used to act. This is because the spirit that was active in those grandparents has now found its way into the young child's life. In Matthew chapter 17, the disciples of Jesus were dealing with a boy who had a familiar spirit that had been with him for a very long time. This spirit manifested itself by making the boy deaf